Hello and welcome everybody. This is the Daily Dharma. My name's Dina. Thank you so much for joining today. Let's take a moment and open up, sync up our energies, take a big breath. As you release that breath, intend that all your fears, worries, anxieties, or dramas in this world get transmuted through the sacred smoke. And let's go ahead and begin. So today, I do have a few cards that were popping out. I was thinking of something different than romance to begin with, but it came out in the code cards. Romantic love was the one that popped out, and under the deck we have sacral chakra, authority, a few more here, soul time realization, throat chakra. I'm seeing the delight card way back here, consciousness. So some type of realization, a truth has been recognized through introspective time, and it's gaining personal confidence and authority over something, some budding truth, perhaps about your own value or your need to assert some type of new truth in your situation. So I don't know if you already are in this romantic type of dance with another in particular individual, or if you are still seeking this and still navigating your thoughts and beliefs and truths surrounding the partnerships that you've already engaged in or considered. So coming out from the DIY deck, the plot thickens is kind of how it feels. The first two coming out are True North, I feel you are my destiny, with awakening, wake-up call. So this awakening, wake-up call corresponds with that budding truth that we're seeing buried in the deck in the code cards. And then we see number 3, solar plexus chakra, that seat of the willpower and the creative use of our own energy and how we assert, how we work with others perhaps can be caught up there. And also many of the ego concerns can be there. It's ruled and governed by the element of fire. And so it can also talk about how certain resentments or resentments in some type of a way can sometimes block our own creative flow in our own life. And so in this way also it can be judgments, envy, and jealousy, which also bleeds into the heart space. But when we have solar plexus, it can talk about the need to kind of work through the difference between how we feel and how we respond. Next, we have Twin Flame 1111. I don't know how you all feel about that, if you're on the Twin Flame bus or not, but it, to me, first and foremost talks about how we get straight within ourselves. And then I always talk about how the 1111 is the mirror. And so the more autonomous and self-accountable we become, particularly with our willpower, our creative energy expression into the world. And so it's also giving a lot of communication issues, the vibrational resonance that we're talking into being, feeling, thinking, and believing, the truths that we hold, and how we see that bouncing back into our experience through the mirror of life. I could go on, but I think that's talking about how we are utilizing the mirror of relationship to come to our own sovereignty and escape is the wrong word, to overcome, to transcend some of the attachment energy and the slippery slope of codependency and attachment energy in general. So the twin flame connection gets touted as, oh, everything is just explosive. It can be very cathartic, but also creates a lot of inner conflict as these chakra objectives are worked through and transcended and integrated into our own systems. So then next we have Brick House. Apologize for the artwork. It's supposed to be one of those, the Rosie the Riveter type energy with that. It's like somebody's really solid. They've built a firm foundation. They've probably done a lot of it themselves. And so coming out with all of those messages regarding the mirror and sovereignty and autonomy, it seems that one of you or both of you in this dynamic have done quite a lot of heavy lifting internally, psychologically, energetically, all of the above, all this and more. And so the brick house is somebody who's really done a very good job at working through the chakra wounding and creating healing. And it's confirmed here with Ascending Master coming next. So you've done the heavy lifting, and it's almost like this feeling of having reached the end of a level in some type of video game, and like you get this next gift that then like armor at the end of this level, and then the next level you're going to need that armor for the trials that come. So there's something about that coming in. And then the last row here says, I like lots of attention and action. Fire, again with the fire suit here, doubling down on that solar plexus energy. So in your dynamic, some of this is really needing an individual who is confident, self-expressive, and self-sovereign, and who does something proactive with their energy and doesn't sit here and perhaps depend upon you too much or project upon you too much. Because if we've reached a certain level, those dramas no longer resonate with us, and we just move in other directions, I'll just say. So this fiery energy as well, it's like there's also this budding urge to give somebody lots of attention or wanting somebody's attention. So somebody may be trying to self-express in a way that's attention seeking in your situation, whether that's somebody who's, I'm getting like in high school type, where somebody's showing off to get the other person's attention while they're sitting with their friends type of a thing. But it can also be from the ego level, let's say something platonic, like somebody's attention seeking in the household, let's say, and projecting upon you just to get an argument going so that they get that attention because they're in that particular situation misappropriating that fire energy. And so that's when people start to get burned, feelings start to get involved and harmed in that way. That comes with define your path, opportunity or distraction, medicine or poison, consider the dose. So in any healthy relationship, we do want to belong to each other. We do want to help and support each other. Like if you're having a rough day, I want to come and support you. And then if I'm having a rough day, I want you to come and support me. It's like when one person's fire wanes, the other person can come along and inspire. Those types of things are healthy. And in any relationship, when we're working through lots of issues internally, when we're doing big work inside, and perhaps hopefully the other person is doing big work inside them, there's also big work within the connection, because we're both intending that that big work is done together. And so there's going to be moments of intensity, but then it's like, how do we direct the energy into something that's helpful versus something that's not? And so I'm thinking in the moment about this book that I have. It's not nearby or I'd grab it, but it's the Love Cards book and the Cards of Your Destiny. It's by Robert Camp. And it's just a fun divination thing, but it's based on cardomancy. Is that how you pronounce that? The playing cards. Maybe I'll get some out and see what comes out and just see how that goes in a little bit here. However, what I wanted to say about that is that there's this section where he talks about how there's a lot of Mars energy in certain relationships, and that's great for attraction and for passion and for inspiration in short term. But at some point, especially between intimate partners, all that Mars energy needs to do a little bit more with itself. And so then it becomes like, how do we funnel that energy? And for me, it usually gives me this image of somebody doing something like Tai Chi or martial arts or yoga, where it's body movement with intention, such as moving the breath through the body. And so I don't want to go too much into that tangent, but it's like in that relationship, how we then, like, let's say you're mad at your partner because they never do the dishes, and sure enough, you're both eating and cooking and doing other things. And it's how we then use that energy. Are we going to use that fire energy to say, all right, both of us need to do such and such, and if you absolutely cannot do this, then there's something else that I get to give up, because there's got to be that equal exchange without scorekeeping and blame shifting and such things as that. So I think I'm just going to not go too much further into that one. But in any situation, we got to do more than just the instant gratification type things. We have to also balance that fire with the emotional realms, the spiritual realms. We're getting the Three of Spades. That's the artist card in that deck. And it's showing a unicorn knight from a chess game. And the knight moves in an L pattern. I don't know if the L means something, like it's bringing me into mind with Chicago and the L transit system. But it talks also, could be an initial as well for somebody out there. But the Three of Spades, the spades are the winter suit. It's the hibernation suit, but three is creativity. And so I think that it's also talking about the use of our creative energy in our artistry. It's like with this solar plexus energy being that of expression, maybe something that is really helpful for two individuals that have this intense fiery energy between them. It could even be a shared experience that you and a friend are having. Maybe getting out and doing something such as enjoying music or an art show, or doing one of those paint things in a group, or something such as that. Something creative in its origins might be a way for you guys to kind of put that intense energy into something that helps you transmute the energies that are riled up in between you. And we have Two of Hearts at the bottom of the deck, and it's an interesting depiction. It looks like there's some kind of a mask on this in this unicorn. I almost said uniform, but I was seeing it as a goat for some reason. Anyways, Two of Hearts is the Two of Cups. It's the love energy. Twos are about partnerships and collaboration and the mirroring between individuals. It's about working together. And the Hearts is the emotions. So here we're having that. This would be the suit of air also. So air and water and fire. So there's a lot of movement and momentum there. This Knight energy is also like chariot energy. So something is moving. Anything else? We'll take this one. Eight of Clubs. So the Eight of Wands is showing, I assume it to be three different types of unicorn horns. But to me, it looks like screws in building materials, and the one almost looks like a finger bone, a phalange. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But there's these spikes here. Eight of Clubs is actually one of the power cards in the deck. I do believe it's the Sun card. And eights are about destiny and overcoming. It's the Strength card. And clubs are all about that fire energy again. And so Eight of Clubs talks about communication, messages coming and going. And in this card, because it's these spikes, it's reminding us of the way that we speak to others is not only helpful, harmful, or indifferent to others, but it's also about everything that we project is also reflected back upon us. And so it talks about the responsibility to not only the spoken word, but the vibrational belief structures. And so there's some big truth stepping forward. Underneath this, we have the Jack of Hearts, the first depiction of a human with the unicorn, a little bit more realistic ish. Then here we have this very mundane chess piece, which might talk about manipulation in our artistry, using our artistry as more manipulation than synergy or someone. The Eight of Clubs about the integrity in our word, thought, and deed. And then moving into the Jack. Jacks can be the youth, the initiate, the one who's still an apprentice to the sorcerer and who's needing to learn something else, perhaps about love in general. And so responsibility and love definitely talks about our attraction patterns and how much integrity we have with our loved ones, and in this specific situation with our exes. Many of us will get caught up in doing things such as talking a lot of smack about our exes because some of them might kind of deserve it, right? It's not like everyone is at the exact level of consciousness or integrity that we are. However, getting caught up in that energy just continues to fill us with the judgments. And so instead, I think we're being told to be the manifester of what we wish to see. And so it isn't about, oh, well, this guy was disloyal and cheated. It's about, I prefer commitment and integrity and someone who is direct, honest, and what do you call that? Monogamous, right? It's about what we prefer. It's not what other people choose to do with their energy. As soon as we see that, or the breadcrumb trail that says this person is not above board, then it's up to us to say, oh, well, that's not a match for my energy. I move over in the other direction. Oh, divine masculine, beautiful. Somebody that's kind, direct, full of integrity and compassion, as well as somebody that's self-directed, autonomous, somebody who can provide for themselves without overly depending upon us to do everything or to say everything or to come up with all of the ideas or to pay all the bills, do all the chores. It's like the divine masculine is one who understands literally synergy and how things work together. And it's not like I do all the money, you do all the cooking and cleaning, although that model works for many people. There's a reason why evolutionary wise it doesn't really distribute the workload or the burden appropriately for either party in that situation. I feel like neither person really gets off scot-free in that situation, but so many of us, myself included, we can still point the finger at certain people like, oh, you got it easy because you don't have to do what I do, but we're still only seeing it from one perspective in that way. And so we're having some type of breakthrough here, thinking it through. I'm seeing meditation brings solutions, QRST, maybe somebody in particular that you're holding some type of judgment about how much they're doing or how much they do or don't have it easy. Could be yourself. But I think here there's a lot more to this than what we... Divine Feminine's on the back of the deck. I'll just interrupt myself there. This is with Twin Flame, and then now we've got Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine coming out, and Romantic Love. This is very much an opportunity for us to learn that lesson prior to going any deeper into the situation. What's below Jack? Six of Spades. I can't remember what that card is called, but it's again with the winter suit of air, and the six of spades is Six of Swords is about going to calmer waters, redirecting our energies, healing from some type of perhaps mental competition or mental turmoil, inner chaos. So smoothing those waters. Next we have earth. Anything else? Prosperity. So earthly prosperity, this may talk also about the service work that you are here to do, or it could be just literal mundane three-dimensional work as well, your job that you hold, whether you meet this individual through that type of environment or that network, or whether you are looking to work with your lover in some type of a way. That is saying that the prosperity lies in how the two of you are able to work with each other in a specific way that demonstrates this for others, perhaps how they can come out of codependency and struggle bus mentality, and how they can learn to work together. So let's bring up some other decks here. I've wanted to get this one, Reclaim Your Energy. I feel like that's what we're talking about with reclaiming energy from projected energy that we hold for or against people that we put on a pedestal, or people that we diminish with our judgments. It can be any type of situation, but in this time and place, however difficult and far-fetched it seems, it might seem like one of those all love and light all the time type sentiments, but it's up to us whether or not we're going to transcend this lesson or decide to keep repeating it and having unhealthy, unfulfilling situations that seem to be prominent in our energy field. That is a direct reflection of how we are being self-accountable to the projections that we hold against others, because they tether us to those projections and judgments and the ways that we use our energy and our fire here. And so even if you're feeling angst, all emotions are okay. It's how we handle it. And so we can be artists with our words instead of when we project that energy outward. It's like it can be, sometimes I consider it like word daggers. They can cut very deep. Words can be very violent. And I don't need to tell anybody about that. I mean, it's the absolute truth. And so maybe we're talking also about ideas behind bullying and so forth. But to reclaim our energy from this, there is so much going on, but it looks like this is some real goddess energy. So the divine feminine talks about expressing itself and helping us to connect to our intrinsic understanding of our connection to all of creation. So it's understanding how that figure 8, that infinity symbol, is trying so valiantly to bring us to our own attention about how we fill the space between us is how the mirror responds to us. So let's go ahead and shuffle this just a little bit on camera. All right, we'll take those. So we've got first, Manifestia, number 36. So obviously that's what we're talking about here, law of attraction, how we bring things into fruition. Next is life force energy. That's the 8 of Wands energy, how we communicate that inner vibrational resonance is the projection of our life force energy, which then is the manifestation that looks us back in the eye at the end of the day. So what did we do with all of our love, all of our energy, all of our angst? Did we produce anything beautiful with it? Did we do our part to produce heaven on earth? produce some type of sanctuary for another? Did we validate someone today? Maybe that's not part of your gig, but I think that that's the first step in that is, did we validate ourselves today? Did we say, even if all you did today was get through the day, then good for you. That's another win. It's not about every day you have to bring home a big bag and a deer that you clubbed over the head out in the forest type thing. It's like, the expectations we hold for others sometimes can be unrealistic, and the expectations we hold for the self can be somewhat unreasonable as well in that way. And so this life force energy needs to understand that Mars energy that we're talking about, whether it's within ourselves or shared with others, that the anger, aggression, fears, anxieties, happiness, joy, the lust energy, all of this is something that we can weave and spin into something gorgeous and fulfilling and self-expressive, into some type of artistry that is the becoming process of our life. And I think that we all want that, but we just don't understand how to quite get there. But we're being reminded that the first step is really fully meeting ourselves, and part of autonomy is validating the self and not judging the self harshly or unrealistically. And with that, next is 16, loving compassion. We can only meet others to the level that we've been willing to meet the self. And now we have crown chakra, the unlimited self. So this is on that reclaim your energy that was at the bottom. This is like what was blooming on the top of her head was this lotus. And she was also kind of being birthed from a lotus at her feet. And so it's kind of talking about the ripple effect to me, and also legacy. And you may have some loved ones in spirit, particularly family members, whether that's family biologically or by choice in some other type of a way. But this crown chakra, the unlimited self, is understanding this law of attraction, and how the only thing that limits us is our own understanding and our own reservations and our own projections and fears and anxieties, so on. So once we can kind of break through that to transcend this by meeting ourselves fully, by granting ourselves the permission that we need to either take a break or to get back to work, to either succeed or to concede in some type of way, to somehow synergize and dance with this energy, keeps coming up. So it looks like the unlimited self here is coming with earth prosperity and loving compassion. So I feel like if this is something more about coming together with a partnership and working together, there's also something here that you are actually showing individuals how to direct their life force energy into a direct resulting manifestation of some type of personal healing, personal compassion, and then feeling that confidence and that personal self-expression, helping other people alchemize their process, whatever their process might be. And so something coming up for me personally, I'll just kind of give a quick example of how I mean this. It's like when I used to try to get groups together to teach any type of martial arts self-defense type of things such as that, I kept trying to model other people's way that they were doing it. But now I feel differently about it, and I'm about to begin another group. And this is something that I want to go a little bit more Bruce Lee than Mr. Miyagi, where Miyagi had his good things. He's like, oh, paint the fence, paint the fence. But it seemed very patriarchal in that way, where he was still like not bringing his apprentice up to speed with what this was. It was like he had to break the ego. And for me, it's not about breaking the ego. The ego isn't necessarily the problem. It's the integration of the ego. So in that way, it's like understanding what the ego is trying to say to us. When it tells us something, we have to kind of follow that taproot back for the evidence of, why am I upset? Why am I resentful? Why am I envious? Is it because I haven't given myself that permission to succeed? Is it because I'm over here being aggressive and violent with my words, and so people don't want to be a part of that movement or momentum? Or am I over here being selfless and being all things to everybody, and at the end of the day going home and I'm depleted, and so there's nothing left for me to give back to others, type of a thing, right? So once we figure out that need, we can move that energy through our energy field with intention, such as like with the martial arts example. It's like when we feel that energy, we can punch it out, and we can bring energy in as we're transforming and pushing it out. You know what I'm saying? Like boom, boom, boom. And then we start, and that's just one example, but the same thing with paintbrush strokes. It's like, you know, when we create with color and no expectation of creating a work of art, but just work those colors together, even if it's just emotions moving through your body, something like this urge or need to process something. Sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to cry or to laugh when it's out of sync with what we desire or want in the moment. It can be something that helps, something that's been trapped, to move through, whether it's diet, exercise, movement, time in nature, fresh air. These things help us to move any of that old cellular memory that's been sitting stagnant in our systems, and it moves it through in a creative artistry. And then that personal release is helping us to figure out what alchemy means to us. Underneath the deck, we have furred and feathered friends. I love that one for the what we saw in the divine feminine, all of those relations, all life forms being connected in this time and space. So know that you are never alone, that all types of energies are trying to come in and to support this process. So we're already at the end of the video. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to extend this one because it looks like it's a relationship one. And so we'll get some 3D cards pulled on this. Persistent drive. Yes, stay the course, stay consistent. See what it truly is that you're desiring at the base of that. Move towards that. It's time to zero in on your purpose. Use your intuition and instincts to guide you for the optimal outcome. So in your manifestation of love, perhaps, it's like understanding what you truly need helps you to be very simple and direct with your manifestation and all of that. Empower yourself. That's that solar plexus energy, that confidence and glow up energy. Change directions with ease. Once you realize that you're not on the right track, get back on track. Polite declaration. It's all about how you use your words and the demands and things that you say, or the invitations you may be compelled to send a message. You are truly surrounded by prosperity and by the support of the universe in this time. So we've got prosperity twice here, folks. Your attention's being drawn to the infinite sources of reality. That which exists outside the known is beyond measure.